This is Joy News Today with me, Daniel Daze. In our headlines, Upper East Region farmers are once again worried about the pending spillage of the Bagre Dam in the next few days. We'll speak with the regional NADMO director about plans for them, and also, coming up in the bulletin, Ghana Police Service outdoors National Motor Traffic Monitoring and Surveillance Center with over 3,000 cameras to go after motorists who flout road traffic regulations. Now, there appears to be considerable support for significant changes to be made to the 1992 Constitution following the push by the Fix the Country movement. All this and more coming up within the hour. My name is Daniel Daze. Welcome. In our first story, farmers in the Upper East region are concerned that the spillage of the Bagre Dam this year will harm their harvest and, by extension, their livelihoods. Sonobel, the agency that manages the Bagre and Kompienga dams in Burkina Faso, has announced that the annual spillage of the dams will take place from Friday, August 27 to Monday, August 30 this year. Spillage of the dam causes flooding in the regions within the White Volta enclave, which often destroys farms and homes and displaces hundreds on an annual basis. Farmers near the Polugu Dam, which on completion will mitigate the damage, say they are ill-equipped to deal with the inevitable destruction. Let's quickly speak to our regional correspondent, Albert Sori, who joins us via Zoom. Albert, you have been speaking with these farmers. What have they been telling you?
Yes, Daniel. So the farmers around the White Volta, particularly in the Polugu and Balungu areas in the Talente district, have been talking to us about the announcement of the dam will be spilled. One of them told us that NADMO has actually been educating them. They want them to, if they already have farms around the waterway, if they can quickly harvest any of the produce that are ready for harvesting, so that in case the floods get serious, they will not lose everything. They have also said that their crops are just nearing the maturity stage, and there is nothing they can harvest at this point in time. So there's little they can do. So the information has been to the farmers. The only thing they are waiting to see is whether this year the floods will be as serious as they were last year, for example.
On the issue of how serious the flooding is, this happens every year, as we know. How much does it affect the people, especially these farmers?
Yes, so last year, for instance, we had hectares of merged. The areas that were worst affected were the Boku West district, the Talente district, and then some of the districts in the Northeast region as well. The Boku Road, Bolga-Boku Road, was cut off. If you remember, a portion of that road was washed away at Kobore in the Boku West district. And for several days, commuters could not cross between Bolga and Boku, and even some parts of the village as well. The vice president had to visit the Upper East region to assess the situation and also get the roads ministry to take steps to repair that road. And after about 4 days, that road was fixed and then opened to traffic once again. So last year in particular was very serious. In fact, we lost 10 people according to what happened last year. Deaths were recorded because of these floods. I remember that was what also prompted the Tupamo on Joy FM, led by Kojo Yankson, to do this campaign.
Right.
To mobilize funds to come and support the flood victims. So last year in particular was very serious.
Right, Albert, thank you very much for joining us with those details. Let's go on the other lines and speak to the Upper East Regional NADMO Director, Jerry Asamani. Mr. Asamani, thanks for joining us. Now, how prepared are we for Friday?
Preparations, we are ready and monitoring events around the dam.
Right.
We are ready.
You are ready with what kind of, the farmers tell us, for instance, that you'll be doing some education, but beyond the education, are there any relief items you have in stock?
Yeah, if I may just take you through some few technicalities, is that the Sonabel Group, our development partners in Burkina, has signaled that the dam could be spilled between 27th to the 30th. And the reason is simply that the rate of fill of the dam is at a rapid rate. And normally it is always around 240 meters that they spill. But right now, the water has risen to the level of 233.99, meaning that we are just left with some point one for the dam to be filled to the technical capacity that needs the Sonabe group to open the valve, that is fill the water.
Okay.
In terms of preparation, I must equally indicate that the rate at which the dam is being filled is likely that it could even come, the spillage can start earlier than the 27th as the group in Burkina Faso has signaled. In terms of preparation, is the usual sensitization, the reminder of communities that are living around the river banks, closer to the catchment areas, and then informing chiefs to inform residents of communities that are lying around the White Volta. All communities along the White Volta and then the tributaries of the White Volta, communities there are being advised to locate high grounds. And because this thing is a yearly thing, high grounds have already been noted. So in case the disaster hits, they can relocate to those. We have informed, we have also contacted the Christian groups, the churches, the mosques in the communities around, in case there's a problem around their Fridays prayers or Sundays where church services are to this, they should be able to release the churches and the mosques for us.
So far, how many people, Mr. Asameni, how many people are you expecting to evacuate, and where will they be going if they are to leave?
Those are the areas that I'm talking of. The churches, the schools, the mosques. We've already identified those places.
For how many people, Mr. Asemeni?
And then I'll get there. And then, most of our people are having the communal spirit where the neighbors take in each other. Even more often, they don't want to be in the schools, but less, of course, they are hard-pressed. But the number of people that we are expecting to evacuate is around, 800 to about 1,000 too.
Okay. So is there a coordinated program to take care of them this year? In the past, we knew of Operation Thunderbolt, which did not take place last year.
NADMO
what's the
cannot
program
do
this
this
year?
without our collaborating partners. For instance, the police, the immigration, the army, they're all here. If you hear news, Army is already here. Operation Thunderbolt, that is the rapid response team from NADMO, they are already around. The police are also, we try to collaborate with these people in police to take care of the criminal aspect. Whereas people are suffering from this thing, there are possibilities that people can go to rob or steal from animals.
Right.
So we are collaborating with this. We have what we call SOP, standard procedures, that who receives calls and how the calls that are meant for the army, the calls that are meant for the police. We have been able to standardize all these things, and we know we don't want to disturb the system in case. Hello?
Right, Mr. Sameni, yeah, we got all that. We simply wanted to know, finally, how much has been budgeted for this process?
It has been budgeted.
How much?
We just took delivery of relief items. But like we always say, the relief items, we cannot, as of today, determine the magnitude of the disaster that might hit the place. But the relief items that we have taken from government, from the store, NADMO, the headquarters, we are expecting that it should be enough. But once we cannot determine the magnitude of the system, we still appeal to NGOs, churches, individuals who have the charitability to contribute towards their welfare. They should all come on board. And then, for instance, your media outlet is giving us airtime. That is your contribution. But
we understand. But how much is NADMO putting forward before any other philanthropic organizations help you?
I cannot determine in terms of money, but I can give you items that we have, because we don't procure these items.
Right.
Things are procure nationally to us. I can only give you the list of items that we are ready with.
Right.
But in terms of how much, I can tell you that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jerry Asemini, for joining us. He's Upper East Regional NADMO Director. Let's move to other stories. And motorists who drive recklessly or commit traffic offences will no longer get away with their actions. This is because the Ghana Police Service's newly commissioned National Motor Traffic Monitoring and Surveillance Centre at the police headquarters has over 3,000 intelligent video surveillance cameras stationed at major intersections and accident-prone areas to arrest such acts. The cameras capture road offenders, contact the DVLA for details, and process them for court. The supervisor at the centre, Chief Superintendent Joseph Zanu, says 200 offenders have so far been arrested since the centre was opened 2 weeks ago. He warns drivers to be extra cautious on the road. Hannah Dame joins us via phone with more. Hannah, so first of all, what is the reach of this program? Have they told us? Is it just in the Greater Accra region?
The entire country. The cameras detect the major intersections and roads in the entire country. And so wherever these cameras are, every intersection, the cameras are available, and they capture every indiscipline on the road. Anything that's on the road, these cameras capture them.
Now, Hannah, when you are captured by a camera and you drive on home, how do they take you to court?
So what happens is when you are caught on these strategic locations, in case you drive recklessly or you park at an unauthorized place, the officers who are behind these computers, they zoom in, they get the automatic number plate registration, which they call the ANPR. They get the details, they take it to the DVLA office, and then if indeed whatever offense that was captured was reckless, you are processed and taken to court. And this evidence goes with you to the court. So if you say that it did not really happen, the evidence from the center, and they take you to the court and you are processed.
Yeah, but I'm just wondering how they'll find you, Hannah. I mean, if I drive home to North Kaneshi, who's going to take me to court?
Now, they come in videos and they take pictures as well. They work with the DVLA. And remember that the DVLA has the number plate, the registration for every vehicle. After that, they go to the transport stations. If it's a commercial vehicle, they go to the transport stations. They find you. If it is private, remember DVLA has all the details of every person who is driving registered numbers in this country. So the DVLA assists them. They have your address. They have phone numbers. They call you if you refuse to attend. They actually practically follow up till they find you. Some of them even say that these vehicles were not for them. Whatever reason you give, once there is evidence to back it, you are processed for court and you have to go and defend yourself.
Right. So, Hannah, finally...
And remember also that some of these will be published. The supervisor of the center made us aware that this is a name and shame process. Whoever is involved, your details will be published. And so it's in your own interest to ensure that when you are called to the police station, you go. So you have to ensure that you do the right thing on the road.
Right. Hannah, that's very comprehensive, but I want to know, earlier we were told that some 200 people have been apprehended in the past 2 weeks.
Yes, please.
Where are the names?
Where are the, sorry?
Have they published the names? Have they processed them for court? What has been done so far?
Their names have not yet been published, but they've been processed. The thing is, when you keep denying, that's when it gets to that extent. So these 200 people that we were told they've been caught in the last 2 weeks, they've been processed for court. And because they have not challenged the process, they are through the court and they will receive their punishment. But when you keep challenging, that's when it gets to that extent.
Thanks, Hannah. I think that it's very clear that you have to be very careful when you're driving on the roads. Right, let's move to other stories. And the call for changes to the 1992 Constitution appears to be gathering steam across the country. There are many saying it is about time. The pressure group #FixTheCountry movement at its recent demonstration called for a complete overhaul of the Constitution to make it more relevant, though President Akufo-Addo disagrees.
There are people around this table, Dr. Kwete is one of them, who know about my attitude to the effort that one of my predecessors, the late Professor Mills, made to revise the Constitution. I never agreed with the methods by which the whole undertaking was taken. I don't believe that the Constitution is the work of the President of the Republic. For the President to decide in the comfort of his study that he's satisfied that there must be a review of the Constitution, and that by that process engage the process of constitutional review. I think the Constitution is the work of the body politic of Ghana. And if anything else at all, it should be, at the very least, the Parliament of the Republic at any one given time that will stand for to say that these are matters which we think should engage the public attention so that there can be a collective. But for the President to say he's satisfied that there ought to be a review and therefore engage the process, I thought it was flawed. I said it to the Constitutional Review Commission when they had the good grace to invite me to give my views on the matter, and I have not changed my view. Having regard to the difficulties that our country has had to arrive at a multi-party constitutional dispensation that has endured, and the Fourth Republic is the one that has endured. We saw the First Republic, which had its own problems, authoritarian rule, one-party rule. We had the problems of the Second Republic. We had the problems involved in the Third Republic, all of which were short-lived. To have a republic that has lasted nearly 30 years in the context of our history, to change the constitutional arrangements that have assisted this durability, we should be very careful how we go about it. I feel very strongly on that point, and that is why I have not lent my support to the idea of this wholesale review of the Constitution. The one area which I felt required action was the one that I put before the country, which was the extension of multi-party democratic rule to local government.
Now, legal practitioner Bobby Banton explained the current constitution was promulgated within a context that has since changed.
I think first and foremost, what we would have to see change is the mindset of the political elite.
All right.
We will not have much of a problem as a people if, despite the failings, as it were, as we are calling some of the provisions in the Constitution, the mindset of those in office, as you rightly put it, is that of a servant nature. And so imagine the legislature saying, members of Parliament saying that, listen, we feel the hunger in our constituencies. We know our people do not have food, they do not have water, they do not have schools. And so we will refuse to take increment in salaries, or even though the executive is proposing it. Imagine the president saying that all members of his government should not take salary increment for 4 years, or whatever money that would have been used for salary increment. Each member of his government should use it for a particular project. We do not have to wait for a pandemic to say that we are refusing increment in wages or we are not taking salaries. Majority of Ghanaians are suffering. We live under the below the minimum wage capital. And so if those in government have the means to make life better for us, I think if they start from that end, there will be a less clamor for a change in the constitution. Because as has been said, the most important thing is the fact that we do not see development. We only see the provisions in the constitution being used to better the stakes of those who are in office. So if the constitution remains as it is, but we see development in the hands of the ordinary Ghanaian, then there will be less clamor. Singapore has had the same constitution for over 60 years or 50 years. They've never, they have a national development plan that irrespective of the political party in power, you cannot change it. And so I was there sometime and I didn't even know they were having elections. There was no rally, nothing. Because what is the new thing you are going to say? Everything that you would do has already been set out for you long ago. So I think that beyond that, we should focus on the national development plan. And instead of changing, then we have the National Development Commission. So instead of changing the constitution of that commission every 4 years or whenever there's a change of political office, I think that it should also be given that level of independency so that they come up with a long-term agenda made up, which will be agreed upon from all persons of the political divide. Every person should contribute. Let us give our politicians the agenda that they must follow. So that when we vote you into office, one party cannot come and say that Vision 2020, and another party will come and say that Ghana Beyond Aid. Which is which? And so if we have a national development plan that is set up by the National Development Commission, which exists without any political interference, and say that we are giving ourselves 25 or 30 or 50-year national development plan, which cannot be amended by any political party without a referendum or.
Now, contributing to this conversation on the AM show, thought leadership expert Dr. Hazel Berard Amwa said Ghana would have to adopt some of the principles that have made businesses successful, especially accountability.
I would strongly recommend that in reviewing the Constitution, doesn't mean we are changing the Constitution, but let's at least have a second look at the Constitution, page by page, in the current context, look at what is working and see how we can, learn from how multinationals are working, how corporate institutions are surviving and getting accountability for resources and getting things done. I'm not sure if we go that route, we will actually fail. So a review is important, but who are those reviewing the Constitution? I would even open it up to say beyond legal brains. Let's bring the political scientists, the corporate brains, and other people who are quite well read. That in reviewing the Constitution, if you're looking at how we review compensation of all civil servants, let's have a guideline that says it's about cost of living adjustments, about inflation as a major guideline. And once upon a time or once in a while, let's review the whole salary structure to say that where are the gaps and why do we have these gaps? And does it make sense to have these gaps? Because when there is dissatisfaction and people are upset about conditions of service, there's an uproar. And we're sitting on a time bomb that we have to bear mindful of.
Now let's stay with this story. And political scientist with the University of Ghana, Dr. Kwame Asa-Asante, though agrees with the president that the current constitution is still relevant, and he said that aspects of it will have to be scrapped.
Strictly speaking, I think that provision that calls for the president appointing people as MMDCs must go. It must go straight away so that we will elect the people who will be the leaders in the constituency. That is a big impediment when we are looking at development from the grassroots. So currently, if you look at the constitutional architecture, there are a lot of powers in the hands of the president. One way by which we can beat it down is through that area. There is also that law that touches on the winner-takes-all system, which I think we should take a second look at that issue and get it fixed. You touch on the issue of Council of State. I have a different view.
All right.
I believe that that body must be scrapped and then put or established as a second chamber. If you look at the wealth of the caliber of people and their wealth of experience, the best place to put them as a second chamber where they can go there as people who have not been elected or appointed. And we have examples all over the world. The British House of Lords is a typical example where you have these retirees who are experienced people who can go and shape laws for the country. Because currently, when you look at the Council of State, it's just an advisory body. And I believe that if we want to make the best out of this group of people that we have, we should put them as a second chamber. We'll put them in a second chamber so that they can really give us their last national service for this country.
You're live on Joy News today with me, Daniel Daze. Stay with us. You're live on Joy News today. Thanks for staying with us. Now, pressure is piling on governments to make public the findings of the committee tasked to probe the Ejura disturbances. It's been almost a month since the Justice Kumsin Committee submitted details of its findings on the violence which resulted in some deaths to the Interior Minister Ambrose Derry. But the minister and government officials have remained silent on the report. Vice President of Imani Africa Kofi Bento, security experts Professor Kwesi Ening and National Chief Imam Sheikh Osman Nuhu Shaributu agree that the situation is worrying. In the view of Professor Kwesi Ening, a further delay in the release of the report could trigger more disturbances among the youth in the area. He insists shelving such reports will also diminish public confidence in the work of committees like this in the future. He spoke on the Super Morning Show.
By not sharing the recommendation, by not engaging in the wider public discourse about how do we prevent a repetition of such a crisis, that delay or willingness to engage in that conversation is actually mainly convincing. First, for the possibility of an even more of creating even more disturbances. But even more dangerously is that were further disturbances to take place, then the assurances of the state and its agencies would not be taken for granted. So there is a trust issue here. Okay, so I think it sends an unfortunate and a disturbing signal that the violence in Ejura does not matter, that those who were hurt don't matter, and that the state agencies who failed consistently in terms of intelligence, in terms of reporting, in terms of political oversight, have all done very well. That as citizens' lives don't matter. And that should not be in a functional, democratic, responsive society governed by the rule of law.
Now, Vice President of Imani Africa, Kofi Bento, also speaking on the Super Morning Show, argued that the delay deepens public perception that government intends to cover up the real issues surrounding the chaos.
Look, we all go on demonstrations. You never know when next time it's going to be you and somebody shoots you from behind. So there's clearly something amiss. And the suggestion would be that it has to do with the content which somebody is not happy with. But I'm saying whatever it is, for the sake of the country, let us put it out, learn our lessons, make the changes, and move on. We saw some of the questions about whether Kaka was a member of this group or that group, and some of us didn't think that was necessary. It feeds into a certain narrative. It looks like this is a committee looking for a narrative to fit a preset story. And we've all heard the commentary that went on. But they continued their work. Now, a delay like this is not helping, because with that kind of situation going into the report, a delay like this goes to suggest that, well, they were looking for a certain story to fit some preset narrative that they had. And speed or disposing of this matter in an objective way can help to remove some of these doubts that people had about the work of the committee. So if there's this delay too after the report, it just fits into the same story that, look, people are not interested in the truth per se. They are interested in telling a certain story to fit something that they've already conceived and intend to foist on us.
We can now listen to the Chief Imam, who has tasked his team to track the progress of the case. He said the family of the late social activist Kaka officially petitioned him to intervene.
So that let's all be kind and be good. When we are good, to all the blessings, the consequence will come to our children and the younger generations. So we pray for all those who have departed. We pray for our grandparents and other family members. We pray for God's mercy. May God have compassion on them. We also want to pray that our end should be good. May we end on a very good note. Whatever appeal that has been brought to me this morning, I am also concerned. I'm also affected that I have not heard anything from the investigations. I will make my advisory board to get involved, so that we find out exactly where are we with respect to the investigations, so that we will find solution to the problem and also establish justice.
Meanwhile, security and safety expert Adam Bonner has attributed the delay in the release and implementation of the reports to compensation packages due victims and families of persons who died during the disturbances.
My checks indicate that, the report, especially some portions of it, when it has to do with compensations, I think would have to go through, I think, the AG, finance. They have to do a lot of crisscrossing to arrive at, a safe conclusion, how much is supposed to be paid to, those who died and were injured and all that. My checks indicate, these are some of the reasons why the report isn't out, but that probably won't be a very good excuse. I was expecting the last time I spoke to you that within 10 days from the time I spoke to you, government should have dealt with this. So as far as I'm concerned, these are some of the things and portions of the report, obviously government would have to go through. When I checked, there are portions of it they are still going through apart from the compensation piece.
You're live on Joy News today with me, Daniel Daze. Up next is Business with Daryl.
Good afternoon, welcome to Business. My name is Daryl Powell. Wildlife hunting and bushmeat trade are major economic activities in parts of Africa, serving as a source of income for many. But forest habitats are severely threatened when animals are over-harvested as tropical forest animal species are depleted. In Ghana, management interventions have led to the imposition of a ban on hunting wildlife from August 1 to December 1, 2021. Though the business of bushmeat traders has been affected, the Wildlife Division of the Forestry Commission says it is to allow the animal population recover. Love FM's Mona Lisa Frimpong has more in this report.
Bushmeat contributes significantly to food security. However, its hunting is unsustainable and causes a decline and elimination of larger-bodied species. With the exception of grass cutters, all animals are banned from being harvested in Ghana. Prices of bushmeat on the market are up following the closed season as demand for bushmeat increases. Some traders dread the impact of the closed season on their livelihood.
Our
bushmeat is stocked in our fridges. We are appealing to the authorities to allow us sell it off. Individuals traveling outside purchase it a lot. Unfortunately, we cannot get some for them. In Ghana, the bushmeat industry generates about 870 million cedis in revenue every year. But the government does not benefit enough as traders evade payment of taxes. George Rekubrobe is chairman of the Game Traders Association.
From 2010 to 2018, we're looking about, for 8-year period, looking about $350 million in the bushmeat trade. These numbers are new ones are going to come out, but we do know that it's quite significant. So if there's any income to the government, it will be significant, especially to the Forestry Commission and to the tax system for Ghana.
The increased commercialism and demand in bushmeat shows that urgent action needs to be taken to raise awareness to local people. Dr. Zieka Meyir is wildlife veterinarian and resident manager of the Kumasi Zoological Gardens. He warns that failure to take action will result in a decline of wildlife.
Oh no, Ghana's wildlife population is actually going down, and we need to all come together to take measures to make sure that we revive our wildlife resources. The local wildlife trade actually is concentrated on the bushmeat trade, and this season, which we call the close season to hunting, harvesting and destroying of wildlife, is actually to sensitize the major stakeholders in that value chain.
Bushmeat is generally an important source of food and income in most cultures. If the animal populations are allowed to recover, there will be a boom in the bushmeat industry. Mona Lisa Frempong reporting.
Now, a dairy expert, Professor Felix Ankuma Asante, has indicated that the dairy sector has the potential to create equitable wealth and make Ghana food secure if it's industrialized. According to him, investing in dairy production would also lead to more jobs, improve nutrition, especially during these times of the COVID-19 pandemic. He spoke at the virtual launch of the 5th year anniversary of the Dairy Research Improvement and Innovation Consortium at the University of Ghana.
The potential to create equitable wealth in dairy is therefore a possibility for both males and females, an outcome that will meet the SDG for gender equality. There are opportunities to generate clean energy from digesting the manure obtained from dairy animals. This provides methane gas that can be used to power generators, to chill milk and keep the cold chain. Although feasible, this area has yet to be explored and expanded in Ghana, but will certainly lead to achieving SDG 7, that is affordable and clean energy. Building sustainable consumption and production of a nation's food will ensure food security, and industrialization is one of the surest ways to achieve this. Thus, the SDGs 9 and 12 are linked when considering sustainable dairy. Large global brands such as Funberg, Danone, Passimo, Nestle, DSM, amongst others, all have one thing in common, and it is dairy. These industries provide jobs and good nutrition that is accessible to consumers around the world. It is possible for Ghana to build sustainable dairy industries that allow innovation and infrastructure development to promote sustainable production and consumption of milk.
That's business for now. More coming up at the top of the hour on the marketplace. Up next, sports.
Hello, good afternoon and welcome to the sports segment with me, Oriku Ampofo. Let's do some boxing now, where President of the Ghana Boxing Authority, Abraham Kote Nikwe, and members of the executive board have paid a visit to the training grounds of West Africa featherweight champion Alfred Bukombomba Lamte in order to motivate him as he prepares for WBC Youth Silver and WBO Youth titles fight against Idi Kayumba of Tanzania. The president expressed his desire to support Lamte to win the world title under his leadership.
I'm here in connection with my boy, Alfred Lamte, who is going to fight the WBO world title. Today, the entire GBA is here to give our support to him. Coming September 4th, I'm very sure that I'm going to win my first world title. As a president, I just took office, and I'm happy to be here with my team to support my boy, Lamte, to win the title. I've seen Lamte for a very long time. He's a very good boxer. boxer is very disciplined, and then looking at his training level, he's going to win the title for Ghana. Oh yes, this is what we do as GBA. Whenever there is a world title shot like this, we come in and donate to the boxers. Now we are also here to donate money to our boy so that it can motivate him to buy some few vitamins and other things that is going to help me to perform well on the D-Day. We are giving him this because we are also expecting something on 4th September.
And as you know by now, the Paralympics kicked off yesterday, and three-time Paralympian Bucho Nkegbe has been opening up and speaking to us on what it would take Ghana to get a medal, while expressing his dissatisfaction with the decision of the National Paralympic Committee to omit him from the team that traveled to Tokyo this year.
At the moment, what I can say to them is, one, I always say that anytime I'm on the track, I feel I'm carrying 6 million population of disabled on my shoulder. Anytime I hear the starter gun, what I represent is the people who are looking up. So what I can tell them is opportunity given to them. Some of them are the first time in the Paralympic. You see Famedu is the twice, and Emmanuel is one, and Aso is one. They should just do their best, and I know that their best will bring doing your best means that you want to give it all out. And I was just going to say that I wish them all the best that I can wish myself in this stage. It's just unfortunate that I'm not part of the team this time around.
Well, that was Bucho Nkegbe. But before we do leave, there's been some breaking news in terms of the transfer window, and that is Tottenham captain Harry Kane. Now, he posted this on Twitter to end what has been an incredible saga between Man City and then Tottenham Hotspur. He says it was incredible to see the reception from the Spurs fans on Sunday and to read some of the messages of support I've had in the last few weeks. I will be staying at Tottenham this summer and will be 100% focused on helping the team achieve success. Now, this comes after Tottenham rejected Man City's second bid, which was around £150 million. And City did offer a first bid around 100 million alongside some players, but Tottenham have been playing hardball, and it looks as if the saga is over, as Tottenham would keep Harry Kane for at least the next season. As I wrap up the sports here, my name is Ejura.
Bringing us to the end of this bulletin of Joy News Today. My name is Daniel Dazi, and for more news, log on to myjoyonline.com. Stay tuned to Joy News. See you tomorrow.
Hi, this is Lexus Bill, host of Drive Time on Joy 99.7 FM. Listen, you don't have to worry if you miss Drive Time or Personality Profile. It's going to be live on our podcast page. Just log on to www.myjoyonline.com/podcast. You can listen to Drive Time, Personality Profile, and any other of your favorite shows on Joy FM on that page. You don't have to miss a show at all. Joy 99.7 FM, radio for discerning listeners.
Good morning and welcome to News File.